up on your coastline, midday Texas sun.
Hey loves, welcome to my channel. My name is Danielle. I am 20 years old. I have an amazing husband named William, and together we share a beautiful baby boy. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my labor story, my pregnancy, and all those great little things. When I found out I was about 4 weeks and 5 days, so almost 5 weeks, I was laying on the couch, this particular couch, and I felt sick. And I kept telling my husband there was just something not right. I didn't feel good. He said there was a bug going around, so I was like, okay, cool. I was supposed to start my period around there, but my period is very irregular, so I didn't think anything about it. I went to school and actually got sick at the school, so they sent me home, and I was laying on the couch, and I still felt nauseous. I had looked on a period app that I have, and it had said I was, I think, I want to say 12 days late. And like I said, I'm very irregular. So with that being said, like, I didn't really think anything of it, and for just to check, I went and went into our closet and looked around for some pregnancy tests. We've had a couple scares, so I mean, we had them laying around. So I grabbed one, took it, and I laid it down, and it says for 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And in my head, I kept saying, like, there's no way. We weren't trying. We were still 18 years old, the both of us. So therefore, we were still in school. We weren't trying to have a family yet. So I had my phone set for 3 minutes because the little box said for 3 minutes. And when I looked down just to see how much more time I had, there was 2 bright red lines. At first I was like, no, a false positive. Because I looked it up, you can get false positives. But in my situation, I wasn't having a false positive. Well, they say that you can get a false positive. So I was like, okay, this is a false positive, it's a faulty pregnancy test. So I took another one, and no less than a minute it popped up, pregnant again. But this time it was a digital one. So I went to the doctor a week later because we weren't trying to tell his parents that, hey, we're pregnant, we were having sex, what's up? So, well, a week later we got it confirmed. And so we were very much pregnant. All of us had accepted it, decided we were having a baby. Abortion was out of the question. Adoption was out of the question. So jumping up a little bit, around 11 weeks, I was folding some clothes, and I went into the bathroom, and I had noticed I was bleeding through some boxers, and then I had noticed that I bled through some sweatpants. And if you don't know, when you bleed during pregnancy, the first thing a woman thinks is miscarriage. So my husband's parents rushed me to the hospital, and the doctor said it was a threatening miscarriage, but it was just a clot or something that had erupted around the baby's sac or something. I wanted to really keep my pregnancy a secret or quiet, so until I got out of high school. I had a horrible morning sickness, so it got really difficult to hide it, because morning sickness, you can't just kind of like keep it in. You have to get sick, and it's not only in the morning, even though it's called morning sickness. It's all day. No matter if you don't like the smell of onions. In my case, it was ketchup. And when you're in school, everybody has ketchup. So I got sick often. But eventually it got so much better. I wasn't so sick. We graduated when I was about 15 weeks. At 20 weeks is when you usually find out if you're having a boy or a girl. So we go into our appointment watching Rick and Morty, and we're sitting there, and me and my husband are sitting there talking about, like, oh, it's going to be a girl. He has so many sisters, and he's the only boy. I have so many sisters, and I only have one boy in my family. So we thought it was going to be a girl. So she puts the gel on my belly, and she's looking around, and knowing my child, he or she's going to be stubborn. And as per usual, the baby's stubborn. His little legs were crossed. She's looking around, and she's like, all right, come on, little baby. And he's not spreading at all. And so she has me lay on my other side, poke my belly, drink some juice, and she has me come back in. And she finally gets close enough, and she's like, it's a boy, our guys are having a boy. And I automatically was like, nope, check again, because my family is notorious for wrong genders. So I was like, nope, check again. And little did we know, we were having a beautiful little boy. So William was very happy. I was kind of upset because I really, really was hoping for a girl. But I got over it that day because my baby was healthy. At 30 weeks, they have you take something that's called the glucose test. It's a very sugary, flat soda type flavor, like drink. And you get between lime, orange, and like some other one. I picked the orange because at the time I really liked orange Fanta. And the first time I did it, I got sick. And they told me I had to take it over again 2 days later. So that sucked because it really makes you feel horrible for that whole day. And if you take it early, so you're feeling horrible the whole day. So I came back the 3 days, or 2 days, 3 days, whatever. And I did it, and they just pretty much told me to drink the drink, wait a little bit. And so I did what I had to do. And I get a call that day after I do it, and they said I failed. And when you fail, it pretty much means you might have the diabetes, or I don't know how to say it, but it's some type of diabetes that happens when you're pregnant. And so they make you take a 3-hour test. And at every hour you have to get your blood drawn. And I'm pretty sure you have to take 2 drinks or 1 drink. I'm not 100% sure. So I had taken the test and I had passed, which I was absolutely happy about because I don't really want to, when you have diabetes, when you're pregnant, the baby comes out bigger and it could have possibilities of something being wrong with your baby. And so therefore I was very happy with it. I'm skipping a little bit forward again to around 32 to 34 weeks. They start checking your cervix to see if you're dilating, and it hurts so bad. And every time after the appointments, I would have horrible Braxton Hicks. And if you don't know what Braxton Hicks are, they're contractions, but with no baby. Horrible things. But they hurt so bad. And after every appointment, my OB would tell me if they got bad to go to the hospital. Well, at 36 weeks, I had a appointment, per usual. I had the contractions around 3 or 4 p.m. And they started getting, they were way stronger than usual. They were to the point where I could not breathe. I could not talk. So, with my mom having so many kids, she knew I was going into pre-labor or early labor or whatever. So I had called my OB, and he said since I was unable to talk or breathe through them, that he would recommend me going into the hospital. So I get there and they tell me that I am starting labor. They were going to keep me overnight and give me a shot to, one, try to help stop the labor, and another shot to, if the first shot didn't work, that this one would help my baby's lungs develop and everything else that needed a little more push to develop. I was there for 2 days just to watch the baby and make sure everything was okay, and that the baby was fine, I was fine, and labor had stopped. After the 2 days, I was so happy to be home. I hate the hospital. I couldn't sleep. My husband went to school still for college, and he worked, so therefore I was in the hospital alone a lot of the time, so therefore I was very scared. I was upset, and so after the 2 days were up, I was absolutely happy to be home in my own bed, with the fans and all kinds of stuff. So leading up to 39 weeks, I had another exam, where he checked my cervix, and as usual, he was like, I'm glad everything worked out for you, and we didn't have a baby, which I was absolutely happy about, because I was not trying to have a baby yet. So at 39 weeks, I got this cervix checked. He told me that my baby was very, very low, and he expected me to go into labor within that day or 3 days later. So I was having contractions. I was walking a lot. So therefore, I was trying to get this baby to have easier delivery and to also have a baby soon as possible, because I was so tired, so uncomfortable, so fat. I looked like a whale. I felt like a whale. I could have been a whale. So I was trying everything I could to get this baby in position and ready. We went out to dinner with family and friends of ours, and my contractions were getting out of hand. They were way close. They were strong. Again, couldn't speak through them, couldn't breathe through them, and I was trying to eat dinner. Our family friend was sitting there, and she was tracking my contractions, and for some reason they were close and they were long. And like I said, I could not talk through them, so I had my husband call a on-call nurse that was at the hospital to tell them that I was on our way, and to get our OB approval to say yes, it's okay to go. How much longer do I have? Oh goodness. So we get to the hospital, and they take us up to L&D, which is labor and delivery, and they get us into a room, and about an hour and a half, they tell us that our OB has decided to keep me and induce me for the next day. So I'm excited. I have Will run downstairs, get her bags, and while he's doing that, our nurse comes in and tells us about 6 or 8 o'clock in the morning is when they were starting to get us, that they were going to start the drip. Excuse me. There's going to be like 4 or 5 times I burped. The night was very difficult. They kept coming in and waking me up and moving the monitor to try to find the baby's heartbeat, because he kept moving or I kept moving, and it was just way too hard to sleep. Plus I was just way too excited to sleep, so there was no sleeping for us. Well, for me anyways. Will was sleeping like a baby. So around 8 in the morning, my OB came in and broke my water, and he started me on something that's called Pitocin, and it was a pill or a drip. I could not remember for the life of me. And they had checked my cervix before they broke my water and all that. And at that time, I was at 4.5 centimeters. So I was dilated. My contractions weren't really bad until like the second dose of Pitocin. By that time, I was already dilated to a 6, and so therefore the nurse told me if I was going to get the epidural, to get it now, because when you hit 8 centimeters, they don't let you have the epidural. So I like waited till 7 centimeters, and I was like, yep, just give me the epidural, I just can't do it. The anesthesiologist came in and had asked Will to leave. Because a lot of fathers or husbands or whoever tend to faint when they see the big needle go into somebody's back, which is understandable. So they had me hold a pillow for fetal, like in the fetal position, so like my back would curve and they would be able to get the needle in. It wasn't as bad. It mostly stung. It was a little bit uncomfortable for the first 2 minutes, and then it completely went away. After that, my mom was in the room. My in-laws were there. And we were just waiting for our little baby to make his arrival. And my mom came back with like a cute little teddy bear and an elephant.
That's too cute.
So with the epidural, the pain was away, thank God. So pretty much I was very loopy. During the time waiting for my son to come, I was asking for food because you're not allowed to eat in the hospital room. So the only thing they give you is a cup of ice, and that's the only thing you can eat. So I was trying to convince my mom to get me food, and then I tried to convince her to give me some of her soda. Didn't work. So I was pretty starving. Nobody wanted to give me food, which made me grumpy, but I was loopy, so I was happy. And so that was fine. And then I started laughing a lot at vines and memes and all kinds of things because, you know, when you're in a hospital room, you get bored. So I was pretty bored, and so therefore we were just making jokes and enjoying our time until us becoming like a family of 2 became a family of 3. So if the comments are disabled, I will be linking my Instagram down below. So just go on to my latest post and leave a comment there. Bye guys!